Hare Krishna devotees, please accept my humble obeisances. All goes Sri Prabhupada and Guru Maharaj. So, Prasanthi Mataji, whenever you're ready, you can start Mataji. Prayers.
Yeah, sure, Prabhu. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna, dear devotees, please accept my humble obeisances. All glory to Sri Prabhupada and Gurudev. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Chaiva Narottamam. Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudhirayet. Nashtaprayeshu Abhatreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya. Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktin Bhavati Naishtaki. Today we are reading Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 10, Chapter 33, the Rasa Dance, from text 28 to 39. Text 28. O faithful upholder of vows, please destroy your doubt by explaining to us what purpose the self-satisfied Lord of the Yadus had in mind when he behaved so contemptibly. Text 29. Sukadeva Goswami said, the status of powerful controllers is not harmed by any apparently audacious transgression of morality we may see in them, for they are just like fire which devours everything fed into it and remains unpolluted. Text 30. One who is not a great controller should never imitate the behavior of ruling personalities, even mentally. If out of foolishness an ordinary person does imitate such behavior, he will simply destroy himself, just as a person who is not Rudra would destroy himself if he tried to drink an ocean of poison. Text 31. The statements of the Lord's empowered servants are always true, and the acts they perform are exemplary when consistent with those statements. Therefore, one who is intelligent should carry out their instructions. Text 32. My dear Prabhu, when these great persons who are free from false ego act piously in this world, they have no selfish motives to fulfill, and even when they act in apparent contradiction to the laws of pity, they are not subject to sinful reactions. Text 33. How then could the Lord of all created beings, animals, men, and demigods, have any connection with the pity and impiety that affect these subject creatures? Text 34. Material activities never entangle the devotees of the Supreme Lord, who are fully satisfied by serving the dust of the lotus feet. Nor do material activities entangle those intelligent sages who had who have freed themselves from the bondage of all fruitive reactions by the power of yoga. So, how could there be any question of bondage for the Lord Himself, who assumes His transcendental forms according to His own sweet will? Text 35. He who lives as the overseeing witness within the gopis and their husbands, and indeed within all embodied living beings, assumes forms in this world to enjoy transcendental pastimes. Text 36. When the Lord assumes a human-like body to show mercy to his devotees, he engages in such pastimes as will attract those who hear about them to become dedicated to him. Text 37. The cowherd men, bewildered by Krishna's illusory potency, thought their wives had remained home at their sides. Thus, they did not harbor any jealous feelings against him. Text 38. After an entire night of Brahma had passed, Lord Krishna advised the gopis to return to their homes. Although they did not wish to do so, the Lord's beloved concerts compiled with his command. Text 39. Anyone who faithfully hears or describes the Lord's playful affairs with the young gopis of Vrindavana will attain the Lord's pure devotional service. Thus, he will quickly become sober and conquer lust, the disease of the heart. Thus ends the Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 10, Chapter 33, the Rasa Dance. Thank you so much, Brother. Hare Krishna.
Yeah, thank you so much, Mataji. Hare Krishna. Yeah. Hare Krishna, dear Krishna Prabhuji. Please accept my humble obeisance, Prabhu. All goes to Guru Maharaj Sri Prabhupada. Yeah, whenever you're ready, you can start, Prabhuji.
Yeah. Hare Krishna. Thank you, Sundarana Prabhu, for giving this opportunity. And our pranam all goes to Srila Prabhupada and Gurudev. And thank you all for joining today's Bhagavatam session. So today we are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, 10th Canto, 33rd chapter, slokas 28 to 39, end of the chapter. And thank you, Prashanti Mataji, for reading today's Bhagavatam section, slokas translations. So we'll start with prayers. ओम अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाख्य चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः. नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्तस्वामिनिति नामने. नमस्ते सारस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषशून्यवादि पश्चात्तदेशतारिणि. जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधार श्रीवासादि गौरभक्तवृंद. हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे. Just to give a background, we are in the last section of Rasa Panchadya. So these 5 chapters where Krishna performed most intimate pastime of rasa dance with his dear and pure devotees gopis. And this section is also very important, at least for me, because this section where Parikshit Maharaj is raising the question and Sukadeva Goswami is clarifying it. So it tells about that this is not any moral activity which we see it. It is a pure spiritual exchange. So this is very, very important, at least for me. So far we saw like how last chapter we saw how Krishna manifested in the midst of the gopis who were extremely disturbed by his separation, and then after he appeared and he consoled them, then they expressed their deep feelings of ecstasy. And in this chapter so far we saw that how the gopis so who had a great devotion, so bound Krishna by the ropes of their affection. So with that Krishna expanded himself into many forms, and then gopis with their enthusiasm started serving Krishna by singing, dancing, and in this way they started satisfying Krishna's senses. And then since Krishna expanded in numerous forms and dancing with each gopi, so each gopi thought that he was standing next to her alone. So, and after dancing for a long period of time, they became fatigued, and then each of them placed their arm on the shoulder of the Krishna standing beside who is standing beside her. So then and the great scholars they also says that this Rasa Lila is like a child playing with his own reflection, because all the gopis are Krishna's internal energy, and he expanded into numerous form to perform this beautiful, wonderful pastimes. And also when he exhibited this wonderful pastime, all the living beings like Lord, from Brahma down to the so all the other living entities, they were merged into the ocean of astonishment. So then after hearing this pastime, so we saw in the last sloka that Maharaj Parikshit, he raised this question because externally this looks like the activities of lust. So he expressed this doubt. Of course, it's not that Parikshit Maharaj has any question or any doubt about Krishna's pastimes as a ordinary material activities. He knows that they are all divyam. So janma karma chame divyam. But it is for the conditioned living entities in this material world who are not purified. So he raised this question saying that O faithful upholder of vows, please destroy our doubt by explaining to us what purpose the self-satisfied Lord of Vedus had in mind when he behaved so contemptibly. So this contemptible means jugupsitam. So because many but the jivas, conditioned living it in this material world who are not purified, they may think that this is an ordinary mundane activities which are probably um, similar to a lusty activity like that. So that's why Maharaj Parikshit asked this question. But he is clear that so the Maharaj Parikshit is clear that this is a transcendental pastime. But in time to time we see in the scriptures that these kind of questions will arise from the great devotees, not for themselves, because they are clear. It's for the conditioned living entities in this material world during that time or the future generations. So they will hear from the authorities like these great sages. Here Sukadeva Goswami is explaining. So the reason. So when authority answers comes to these questions, then the Baddha Jivas will probably know that this is not a mundane activity like that. So like there are so many questions. And then in this sloka, we see that Krishna is also mentioned as aptakamaha, self-satisfied. So, and we heard from the previous devotees and even from Srila Prabhupada's Krishna book also, that talks about several reasons why this activity is not immoral. Because one of them is aptakama. So he's self-satisfied. So he doesn't need someone's help to get satisfaction. So he is completely satisfied. And the Krishna book Prabhupada mentions that then why Krishna performed this pastime. Maybe Krishna was seduced by gopis' lusty desires, like when Ajamila saw a Sudra lady who is closely performing some lusty activities with another Sudra person. So he got agitated. So is that reason? So that's why here Parikshit Maharaj is saying that he is Lord of the Yadus, Yadupati. So he indicated that Krishna is most exalted personality in the dynasty of the Yadus. Because the kings in the dynasty of Yadus, they were considered to be the most pious. And their descendants also like that. And Krishna, what to speak of Krishna, is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And that's why he is called as Yadupati. So that's why here Parikshit Maharaj is expressing that so how could Krishna have been seduced? So that's not the reason. So so that's why Parikshit Maharaj want to know the reason. Kim abhipraya. So and also here he is saying that he is addressing Sukadeva Goswami as the faithful upholder of vows. Suvrata. So which means that who takes a vow to enact pious activities. So that means that Sukadeva Goswami will not speak anything which is material, lusty subject matter. So that's since this is a pure transcendental pastime, Sukadeva Goswami is narrating this pastime, intimate pastime to the Parikshit Maharaj or to the people who are in that assembly. And in the next sloka onwards, Sukadeva Goswami explains the reason. So here he is saying that the most powerful, the status of powerful controls is not harmed by any apparent audacious transgression of morality we may see in them. So they are just like a fire which devours everything fed into it and remains unpolluted. So and in the purport, it is mentioned that a fire, so when we pour anything, so it will devour it, but it will not change in its nature. So similarly, a great personality, so he will not fall his position, even external it looks like an irregularity in the behavior like that. And Prabhupada also gives another example in Krishna book saying that the sun, it can absorb water even from the urine or stool like that, but it is not polluted. Instead, it will purify it. So the influence of the sunshine, so it will purify that disinfected area also. So then what to speak of Supreme Lord Krishna? So just by chanting his holy name itself, the conditioned living entities are purified. So that's why here Sukadeva Goswami is saying that if one is not a great controller, then they should not imitate it. The behavior of ruling personalities, even mentally. And he's saying that if out of foolishness, if one does imitate, then what it will happen? They will simply destroy themselves. And then there is an example is also given, like as if somebody is not Rudra, Lord Shiva, so if he tries to drink an ocean of poison, then he will destroy. So we heard this past time, like Lord Shiva, so he drank that ocean of poison which appeared during the milk ocean churning of the milk ocean. So when he drank, what happens? So he got the blue mark appeared on his neck, and it became very attractive. But a conditioned living entity who is not in that level, so if he drinks even a drop of that poison, he will die immediately. So he will destroy. So similarly, if somebody is trying to imitate Krishna's activities, this rasa dance, then they will be destroyed. And also here Krishna performed this beautiful pastime to demonstrate that he is the Supreme Lord. So which no other one can demonstrate like that. So that's why here Sukadeva Goswami is saying that one should not imitate it. So so one time we hear, like one of the disciple of Srila Prabhupada, so he came to Srila Prabhupada and told that he wanted to chant this Hare Krishna Mahamantra 24/7, like Srila Haridas Thakur. And Srila Prabhupada told to him that so we should not imitate those great personalities without situating like that. So but so Prabhupada advised him to chant for some time and then perform other service, because in that situation that is the best thing for him. But he neglected that instruction and went away, and he sat at some place and started chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra all the time. And after a few days, what happens? The other devotees noticed that he left that place, and also they came to know that he stopped chanting completely. So if we imitate these great personalities, then we will fall down, we will destroy ourselves. Vinashyati. So it's like a billionaire, when he does his son's marriage by spending millions of dollars, but when a poor person try to imitate and perform the marriage of his son in the same way by borrowing, then he will end up in problems. So Prabhupada also mentions that so these Mayavadis are like that. They falsely claim that they are Krishna himself, and they can do rasa dance like that. So even during Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur time also, so one person claimed himself that he is the Supreme Lord Vishnu himself, and he started doing rasa dance and creating so many problems, and many local people also complained. Then the British government gave the task to Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur to control him. So of course then we hear that Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he arrested him and put him in the jail and punished him severely like that. So Mayavadis thinks that they are Krishna himself. But when they were asked to lift Govardhana hill, like how Krishna lifted, then they will not do it. So that's why here Sukadeva Goswami is stressing that one should not imitate these things. And then Sukadeva Goswami is saying that the statements of Lord's empowered servants are always true. And the act also they perform exemplary. So therefore one who is intelligent should carry out their instructions. So we should follow whatever the instructions that were given. So not to imitate what they are doing it. So that's why in the purport it is mentioned that the Supreme Lord Krishna is mentioned as Ishvara, controller, because he is competent to perform any activities. And he is the cause of all causes. And he can empower his devotees. That's why his empowered servants are always, their statements are always true. Of course, not only the devotees who were empowered by the Supreme Lord, even if somebody who is not in the line of Bhakti Yoga, so if they have some opulences, so they are all also coming from Krishna only. In Bhagavad Gita he says, am I right? Yadyadi ubhuti mat sattvam srimad uchitam yevava, like that. So he is saying that Krishna says that mama tejo amsa sambhavam. So they are all a spark of my splendor. But of course the devotees, So not only their statements are true, but they also follow that. So they perform. Their activities are exemplary and consistent with those statements what they mention. So it's like walk the talk, like that. Because in this world, some people they talk so many things, but when it comes to act, so they will not act. So that's why here Prabhupada, Sukadeva Goswami mentions in that. So the Lord's empowered servants, whatever they speak, they also perform their activities like that. And Prabhupada mentions that when Lord Krishna himself descends, he demonstrates the ultimate religious principles, saying that is beyond all other living beings, and no one can imitate his supreme positions. So he mentions that the Lord is unique and without equal or superior. So we also hear this in Sveta Soprakshitam, right? Natat samascha abhi adhikascha drishyate. So there is no one equal or superior to Supreme Lord Krishna. So that's why we should not imitate Krishna's pastimes. We only need to follow whatever the instructions that were given by acharyas, gurus, or advanced devotees like that. So here Sukadeva Goswami is mentioning that when these great persons who are free from false ego act piously in this world, they have no selfish motives to fulfill. So that's why even when they act in apparent contradiction to the laws of piety, they are not subject to sinful reactions. So they don't have swartha. So these great personalities, they don't have any selfish motive. Anya abhilashita sunyam. Like that. So that's why even when they act, it may look like apparent contradiction, viparyayana vanartho, but they will not be subject to sinful reactions, nirhankarinam, like that. Then what to speak of Krishna performing these rasalila? So it's not the material, ordinary, lusty activities. It's a pure spiritual exchange. So that's why even when we see that when Lord Ramchandra, when he killed Wali by hiding, so it may looks like contradictory, but it is not. So that's why when the arrow hit Wali, so Wali got purified, and he knows that it is not inappropriate, but still he asked the question, so many questions, because in that way the answers will reveal that this is a not a inappropriate activity, like that. So though Wali knows that to benefit all of us, so he asked so many questions. So then in the next sloka, so here Sukadeva Goswami is saying that then what to speak of Krishna, because he is the one who created animals, men and demigods, like that. So he have any connection with piety, impiety, that affects his subject creatures, like that. So in the purport also it is stressed that so what to speak of the Supreme Lord Krishna, even his empowered servants will not have any effect, any sinful activity. So and here we in the purport it is mentioned that even the laws of karma, they are created by Supreme Lord Krishna. Maya dekshana prakriti suyite sacharacharam. So even the nature works on under his direction. So that's why whatever the activities that he performed, they are on the pure goodness. So they are in the transcendental situation. So that's why they are never subject to criticism by any ordinary living beings, like that. So in the next sloka, Sukadeva Goswami clarifies that material activities never entangle the devotees of the Supreme Lord, because they are fully satisfied by serving the dust of Supreme Lord's lotus feet. Not only that, material activities entangle those intelligent sages who have freed themselves from the bondage of all fruitive reactions by the power of yoga. So that's why here Sukadeva Goswami is saying that then how could there be any question of bondage for the Lord himself? So it is mentioned that when Krishna appeared, so he appears in this material world. What is the purpose? When he comes by in his own transcendental form, Sambhavami Atma Maya. So unlike the conditioned living entities who are forced to take birth due to their past karma, but not like that in the case of Supreme Lord. So it is mentioned in Bhagavad Gita, right? Sambhavami Atma Maya. So we hear that what to speak of Krishna, even the devotees who perform bhakti yoga, even their sinful reactions also destroyed. Karmani nirdhati cha kintu bhakti bhajam. So even when we chant this Hare Krishna Mahamantra, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, without any offense. So in Bhagavatam we see that Janma Koti Amhasam Api, like it says that, many millions of the lives, whatever the sinful reactions that we have performed, they all will be destroyed. So then how could there be any question of bondage for the Lord, who assumes his transcendental forms according to his own sweet will? So when he comes, he will come in his own transcendental form. And then in the next sloka, Sukadeva Goswami is mentioning that he is the overseeing witness within the gopis and their husbands. So he assumes forms in this world to enjoy transcendental pastimes. And then in the next sloka, Sukadeva Goswami is mentioning that Lord assumes a human-like birth to show mercy to his devotees. So all these wonderful pastimes that Krishna is performing, so these are all to attract the conditioned living entities in this material world. Because when Krishna comes in this material world, so the one of the reason it is mentioned that to re-establish the dharma, yada yada hi dharmasya glanir bhavati bharata. So when the religious principle, when dharma is declined, Krishna will come. Abhyudhanam adharmasya tadatmanam sujamiham. So how does he do? So by protecting the sadhus and killing the demons or destroying the demons. But higher than that, the Acharyas mentioned that the primary reason is to enact all these wonderful pastimes so that the conditioned living entities can be attracted, and when they take up this process of Krishna consciousness, then Tvekta Deham Punarjanma Naiti Mameti Sojna, because his Janma Karma Chame Divyam. So they're all transcendental. So when somebody performs or understands these things or takes up this process of Bhakti Yoga, then they will not take another birth. So they will go back home, back to Godhead. And that's why in the next sloka, Sukadeva Goswami is mentioning that bewildered by Krishna's illusory potency, the cowherdmen, the husbands of these gopis, so they thought that their wives had remained home at their sides, and that's why they did not have any jealous feelings against him. So when the gopis went to the rasa dance through the internal potency of Yogamaya, so the spiritual bodies of the gopis, they went to the rasa dance. So the bodies of the that they were stayed in that houses, so next to the husbands, they were all Maya. They were all manufactured by the Maya. So it's there are two personalities, like the one who has this complete spiritual body, that gopis are in the rasa dance, and there's the other gopi person, they were in the home. So that's why these husbands, they did not think that they went to the rasa dance. So they thought that they are at the home. So that's why they did not have any negative feelings towards the Supreme Lord. And we also see that how long Krishna and the gopis performed these wonderful pastimes. So it's the entire night of Brahma had passed away. And we hear from Bhagavad Gita Amarat the duration of the night of the Brahma, like Sahasra Yuga Paryantam. So one day is 1000 yugas, Mahayugas. Similarly, one night is also 1000 Mahayugas. So that long period of time, Krishna and all the gopis, they perform this wonderful pastime, the rasa dance. And then after that, then Krishna advised the gopis to return to their homes. And though they did not wish to do so, so they, of course, they obeying the command of Supreme Lord Krishna, so they went back home like that. And Srila Vishnu Chakravarti also mentions that this inconceivable impression of time is something that Krishna can perform it. So Krishna can perform each individual's times in a different way, like that. So that's why it say that avichintya prabhavatat. Nothing is impossible for the Supreme Lord because he has a inconceivable power. And then in the last sloka, this is the Falasruti is given, saying that anyone who faithfully hears or describes this Supreme Lord Krishna's rasa dance with the young gopis of Vrindavana, so they will attain Lord's pure devotion service. Not only that, they will quickly become sober and conquer the lust. So this is a one way to conquer the lust. Um, so we can see that the hearing this or describing this pastime to others will conquer the lust. Then how can this be a lusty activity, which we see in this material world? So this is a pure spiritual activity, but one should have the faith on this. So Prabhupada mentions in the Krishna book that so Shraddhanvitaha, this Shraddha is the beginning of the spiritual development. Adav Shraddha, Tatav Sadhu Sangha, Ata Bhajana Kriya, like that. So beginning is the faith, then due to that faith, so one will associate with the sadhus, the devotees, and in the association of the devotees, one will inspire to practice this Krishna consciousness, to take up this chanting of Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So in that way, they will destroy all the anarthas, anartha nivritti will happen. So like that, Prabhupada mentions that this is the beginning of it. So one should have the faith. So by following this Krishna conscious process, so the initial faith will be will increase and it will be fixed. And in the purport also it is mentioned that the extraordinary power of this rasa dance is mentioned here, like one who is attached to this narration, so they not only get the pure devotion service, but they will also conquer the lust. So that's why Krishna mentions in Bhagavad Gita that when we take up this Krishna conscious activities, so they are param dristva nivartate. So due to that, what will happen? We lose the taste for the material things. So in that way, we progress in the path of bhakti, and when we perfect, we go back home, back to Godhead. So I'll pause it here. Thank you all for giving this opportunity. Grandhara Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya vacha patitanam pavanebhya vaishnavebhya namo namo. Hare Krishna. Thank you all.
Thank you,
Hare
Krishna
Krishna
Prabhu.
Prabhu.
Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna Prabhu.
Yeah, thank you so much, Krishna Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.